I want to start today's show with what is truly maybe my favorite name drop in rap history. It's a new entrance that I believe Nate Taylor has already seen. Nate, what did you think when you checked out the new JID 32 freestyle and you heard the lyric, I return to the center to center the energy. If it's love or a memory of Memphis, Tennessee, it's been a minute, so I'm here to intervene. It's offensive, like Eric Bieniemy, Derrick Henry sipping Hennessy. Who want to hit with me, literally? Nate, if I would have given you the entire organizational flow chart of the last decade of Kansas City Chiefs football, how many guesses would you have gotten before you would have said, you know what? You know who I'm expecting to hear in this song right now? I'm expecting to hear Eric Bieniemy's name. Because he would have been very low on my list, and I am overjoyed by it.
Of course. Extremely low on my list. Because, he wasn't even a player, guys. He hasn't been a football player since, I believe, 1999. And sure, I guess I'll do it now, ladies and gentlemen, just so you're aware. Thankfully, GID is 34 years old. So he was around when Eric Bieniemy was doing his thing in, San Diego and Cincinnati and Philadelphia. But no, whenever you say, hey, someone's referenced in a song, clearly it's about a player. Maybe, which I haven't done the research, but I could, I guess, if you ask. Maybe someone mentions Andy Reid, because I've always said, since Madden became uber duper popular, Andy Reid's been in every version of Madden. So it's one of his greatest benefits when guys get, selected in the NFL draft and they get to the Chiefs and they're like, oh, I've heard about this man and I've played either with or against this man in some capacity on a video game that comes out every August or so. Eric Bieniemy rhyme schemes, just immaculate. There was a reason why, they said he might be one of the next great ones. And this is further proof, because Eric Bieniemy, who alerted this man?
Oh, I want to know so bad.
I want to know. That he was referenced. And he's like, oh, is it good or bad? Like, why is my name being out here? No, coach. It's
hidden
great.
Camera minor league player getting the call up to the bigs angle on Eric. Can you come in here real quick? Hey,
have a seat on the couch.
Go ahead, have a seat. I'm here to intervene. It's offensive, like Eric Bieniemy. Just wanted to let you know that's out there in the universe. What's happening?
Who? Huh?
The next question now is obviously, I think, evident, which is, who's going to be the rapper who name drops Matt Nagy? That's next. Challenge has been put out there, everybody.
I believe I know what I'm about to say and what it means, but I believe Matt Nagy would like to be referenced in a song of a different genre, if you know what I mean.
No, Nate, actually, I don't. Best I could do during the intro music was, she can get it like that. She getting Nagy like Matt. Like, if you can go ahead and chop it up. Like, it's out there.
No lady wants to be getting it like
getting Nagy like Matt, but she Nagy. Get it? No. It's a pun. For having come up with that during the cold open.
So, that's pretty good. I don't even want to try.
Prime time.
No, yeah, I don't want to try to insert Nagy's name into anything that's not football related.
What rhymes with Spagnolo? Oh my goodness.
Well, a lot of Italian names.
I guess that's true.
Words.
I guess that's true.
Maybe something about going on a world tour or going across the pond. And
Maria's meatballs.
There's
something.
Start naming cities like Milan and Florence.
Tucker says can go low.
Like
you go high, I go low. Like all about defensive, Steve Spagnuolo. It's right there.
Spagnolio.
we'll take more recommendations throughout the show. You can just go ahead and leave those in the comments if you're here with us live. Just me and Nate today, Joshua Brisco, Nate Taylor, and our own genius breakdown of more NFL references in pop culture would be fabulous. In the meantime, Nate, let's check here. It's July 3rd. So if there's any NFL news to be had, I'm hoping it doesn't happen tomorrow over the course of the People's 3-day weekend.
Yes.
I have to imagine you're at least like aware of the fact that the funniest thing the Chiefs could do would be to break some big news tomorrow. But all that notwithstanding, how are the vibes in the Taylor compound?
On a Friday afternoon national holiday.
Yeah.
If there was ever a time, gentlemen, tomorrow at about 4:00 would be excellent.
I will not be on the breaking news team.
On a national holiday. I don't think we'll have a breaking news team unless Tucker somehow gets us to convene. But yeah, we're doing great. Just give me 1 second. Josh, obviously there's something very important I must get to.
Yeah.
Just give me a second.
Oh, okay. You do that while I say it's July 3rd. We're talking about nothing. We're doing our jobs worse than Bob Sutton. How about that? Nate didn't even hear that one. Nate took his headphones off. And that's what kept his ears from emanating smoke. I had a great one, Nate. That's okay. I'm gonna keep
keep going.
I don't have another one now.
Oh,
I used my Bob Sutton one already. That's what you missed.
Oh, okay. So look, here's how I'm doing. All right. I miss this place so much.
Yeah.
We almost named our child Wimby.
God, that would have been good.
I miss it so much.
It's the Wimbledon ball. Wimbledon 2023.
Oh, it smells amazing. No, I've been eating strawberries. I've been watching a lot of tennis. I was actually on Over the Cap yesterday, just perusing contracts like one does on July 2nd. Not even the capologist does that. So think about it from this standpoint. Someone asked me yesterday about St. Joseph, Missouri. And I was on the verge of tears, Josh.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I was just watching this. And now you asking me about St. Joseph? And then I told myself, soothingly, like I soothe my newborn son, just shh. You don't have to sleep in those dorms. You don't have to sleep in those dorms. You don't have to do it. It's okay. You'll be fine. I wouldn't call it tears of joy, T. Smith.
Just tears.
Just tears. Guys, it's okay. We're gonna get through it. Obviously, continue to watch Wimbledon along the way, even though I don't know. I mean, I do know who a lot of these players are that have upset a lot of the seeded players. Don't blow your hand on fire tomorrow. How about that?
Good goal.
So we got some PSAs. Obviously, we'll talk about the team. I need new balls.
Excuse me?
From Wimbledon. I need
got it. You got to go back to Wimbledon. Yeah,
I need to say 2025, guys. 2025. So, hey, did you know that that there's a legitimate Who He Play For game? No, Alcaraz is not out. Thank God. But a new game called Who He Play For in the NBA? Because I don't know what team Who He Play For, huh?
All I know is that Bradley Beal is still available for trade offers if anyone's interested. And you know what? And also, Nate, I think this is going to be the time for DeAndre Ayton. I think DeAndre Ayton's definitely going to put it all together this time.
Yeah, especially with LeBron and Luka Doncic and
the monkey's paw for LA of you get Luka, the crown jewel of that draft class, and then whoops, here's DeAndre Ayton. Also, got to save your season. Here's your big man, rim protector, DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Good luck.
Look, I don't know. Maybe Bradley Beal's going to be a part of that new 17 trade that they told us that
please
still
put him in there.
Still hasn't happened.
At least the NFL does it right, where you can trade draft picks and let the players who get drafted wear the hats and the jerseys of the correct team. At least the NFL figured that out.
It's the dumbest thing they do.
So dumb.
So dumb. I had to explain that to my 9-year-old, and he still didn't get it. And I was like,
"No, it's confusing."
Yeah, it's confusing. Like, no, he don't play for them.
No,
but they just drafted
Rockets
him. Yeah, he don't play for them no more.
No. All right, here's my last offering.
Please don't get me started on hats where he doesn't play for the team. There's a hat of. Is there a hat of Luka Doncic in a Atlanta Hawks?
I think a Hawks hat, right?
Yeah. Luka Doncic,
Hawks legend,
hat, never played there.
We could absolutely erase the next hour of our lives if we just got Tucker in here and the three of us just talked about that. We could do that for an hour. Instead, here's my segue into the Trey Smith conversation. Okay.
Okay.
Got my cardio up because I'm a running man, standing on offenses like Gunther Cunningham. You can have that one. You can have that one, Kendrick. That's all yours.
Instead of standing on business, we standing on
offenses like Gunther Cunningham. Yeah, I feel like it was pretty clear, Nate.
We're standing on offenses is crazy.
I mean, look, it came to me. Let's talk about Trey Smith.
Let's do it.
And maybe hopefully we've alluded already. The funniest time, I put it funniest in air quotes because it's not my job to be there for the immediate drop of the hat at news.
Right.
The cosmically funniest time for this to happen would be tomorrow. As soon as fireworks start going off, right around sunset tomorrow night, maybe the Chiefs and Trey Smith come to a conclusion on a long-term deal. But we are actually within a deadline spurring action. We are within crunch time now, less than 2 weeks away from the deadline to extend a franchise-tagged player. The deadline for that is July 15th. And if they don't have a multi-year deal done by that point, then it's just the franchise tag for the season. So obviously we're not going to be talking about this. This isn't one of the Chris Jones situations where he wasn't franchise tag, right? He's looking for the new deal, all that, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Correct.
Trey Smith, there's either going to be a long-term deal done before July 15th, or he's going to play out 2025 under the 1-year franchise tag. Nate, is there any movement for you? Because I think since the moment Joe Thuney got traded, we assumed long-term deal is going to happen.
Yes.
If it was 95-5 back then, 5% for crazy things happening.
Yeah, sure.
Where's the split for you right now? What's the likelihood that Trey Smith still gets a deal done before July 15th?
Okay, if we said it's 95-5, then let's say 85-15. Still an overwhelming favorite. If you kids love to gamble, that there will be a deal done between Trey Smith and the Chiefs. Much of the assumption, a part of most football people in the league around the combine, was that this was already done, that these two sides had basically already agreed to it, and it was just a matter of whether or not, based on the salary cap being higher than the Chiefs projected, whether they were going to prevent Trey Smith from even getting close to free agency. We know the answer. They franchise tagged this man immediately. He did not have a chance to go to free agency, which means the Chiefs did not put a sort of self-imposed deadline. Instead, the Chiefs gave themselves a self-imposed run-up, I guess.
Yeah.
To focus on things in the immediate future, which was free agency and the draft and player development and, getting a first look at the first and second team offenses and defenses. Well, now that we've gotten through mandatory minicamp and Trey Smith was there and in good faith participated mandatorily, we're now led to believe that this deal will happen. I think if we are saying the most hilarious point for this to happen is July 4th, let's say mid-afternoon, that I would say the best time for this to actually happen, the most optimal time for this to happen, is Tuesday, July 8th.
Look at what was standing outside my window right now. Unreal. My local groundhog just came by and stood right by my window, up on its hind legs and everything. Sorry, back to Trey Smith.
No, it's fine.
I just can't. It's impossible. I have something in my brain that will not allow me to not notice a larger than you'd expect, larger than squirrel-sized critter out my window.
Yeah.
It's gonna interrupt my train of thought. Squirrels, I can just barely blind out.
Yeah. So, I think the most optimal day for them to agree, announce whatever, whether he signs it a day or two later, that's up to him and his prerogative. But I think like July 8th, which means I am informing you, ladies and gentlemen, that if we do this show on Tuesday, July 8th, and a deal has not been agreed to, then you can worry. I didn't say panic.
Yeah.
But then you can have a slight worry about, why are we going to take this to next Tuesday, which just happens to be July 15th, which is the deadline. We have to acknowledge, too, that Trey Smith is the only franchise tagged player in the league. So, if you want to get your salary cap sheet in order for 2026, 2027, 2028, it'd be nice to know what the cap numbers are on retaining your Pro Bowl right guard that you ensured was going to be in for the future once you, as I said previously, already gave a contract to Creed Humphrey, and you already traded away an all-pro while aging veteran in Joe Tooney, who checks notes, already got his deal done with the Chicago Bears. So there's really no update. I want to say it's all academic at this point, but if we get past next Tuesday, I may have to check in. There may have to be some understandable updates. As of right now, it's playing much like most people thought it was going to play out since this began at the Combine.
The question that I'm seeing from a decent number of people, and I think this is like a reasonable question to ask, is that all sounds great. What's the wait? Like, where is there still wiggle room in this negotiation? That's kind of how I'd advance that question. I'm like, okay,
yes,
why isn't it done yet? And what's it going to take to get it done within the next week? We've talked about, again, with the Chiefs trading away Joe Tooney, there was no real smoke screen on like, well, maybe we want Trey Smith to play out on the franchise tag.
Right.
And his cap hit this year, $23.4 million on the tag right now. It's going to be very hard for the Chiefs to start at a lower starting point than that, because that's what he's on the sheet for this year. And even if you adore Trey Smith, even if you think he's a top 5 guard, if you think he's the best guard in football, if you think he's the best guard in football, that's a lot of money to pay to a guard. You're talking about a huge, huge, huge chunk of change for several years, with it being guaranteed money for the first 3 years of that, most likely, right? So I still have a little bit of conflict in just what those final numbers are going to look like. When you project to the future, the Chiefs could do a lot more with the $27 million that Jawan Taylor has on the salary cap right now. They'd rather have $27 million. Yeah. But you're happy to be paying Creed Humphrey as a premium center. You hope you're happy to be paying Jalen Moore. We're going to find out. I know that this has become mimetic on this show at this point, but I'm in a similar place to the Nick Bolton discussion with different tiers of players, honestly, I think by a little bit. But when you're in this space of, man, so much money tied up in this player that you love for specific reasons, and you love at a maybe less sticker kind of valuable spot, even though guards have been getting paid the last few years.
That's right.
I continue to have just a little internal conflict on what the best move is for the Chiefs here. The thing that's sort of bizarre is that I don't think they have a lot of options at this point. So is there something being negotiated still? Or is this just like, we'll talk after the holiday weekend? I genuinely am curious about that. What has the last month accomplished?
My understanding is they'll probably have another, informal, formal chit chat after the holiday. Anything else we need to get aware of, any other things we need to sort of understand. I've always said that, the biggest hiccup would probably be the years, not even necessarily the money or the guaranteed amount. I mean, those are always things you can negotiate. So that's standard, I would say. But the years of, hey, the Chiefs would probably prefer a 5-year deal. The agent / player probably wants a 4-year deal to get closer to free agency or the last year of their contract, which would lead to another extension of some sort to get another payday. All those things make sense. I just think with everything that's gone on, you could say, hey, with Trey understanding that he wants to be here and the team understanding that they want him to be here. I know somebody in the comments said previously, well, what about a tag and trade option? You probably would have wanted to do that early in free agency for salary cap purposes,
and
or
before trading Joe Tooney for a pick. I mean,
yes, and if you wanted to wait a little bit and drum up more of the market, you would have done it right before the draft, because not everybody's projected rosters are set. Well, now they kind of are, and because we're not even in training camp yet, there's not really an injury to sort of push you to maybe, engage with somebody or somebody to reach out. Of course, by the time training camp starts, which is why they do this, well, that deadline's already been passed. So you can't sort of wiggle around it where you can string a player along for not only the majority of the offseason, but even going into the early part of the season. That's why they've agreed to put the deadline out there. One of the reasons. What I would offer, I guess here's what I think is fair. And I'm interested as to what your thoughts are in the audience, especially the voyeurs who can put their amazing comments behind these things. But it's not really about right guard, left guard, right? So just for understandable purposes, Landon Dickerson makes $21 million a year, right? He plays right guard, kids, or left guard, excuse me, deemed to be more valuable because blindside of the quarterback. Now, Chris Lindstrom makes $20.5 million as the highest paid right guard, not named Trey Smith on an actual contract, not some 1 year franchise tag maximum. Here's where it gets very interesting. If the Chiefs give you 5 years and are hardlining on 5 years, well then, okay, Chris Lindstrom's got 48 fully guaranteed. And you go, okay, well, let's go to left guard. What did Landon Dickerson get? Well, kids, the Eagles do things a little differently, as we've talked about before, since the Super Bowl. Well, he only got 28.89 fully guaranteed, but total guarantees that he's likely to mostly earn is around 50. If you want a 5-year deal, that's going to cost you $50 million upon signing of fully guaranteed money. Okay, well, what if you want a 4-year deal? All right, well, that means some of the guaranteed money can come down, but I'm going to need to be at that 23 a year mark.
Right, he's got 23 guaranteed right now.
Yep.
For this season.
Yep. So do you want a higher cap hit because it's 23 a year on average spread across 4 years? Or you want to guarantee me that money for that 5th year? And I'm asking the audience and you, Josh, which one you picking? Because if you're asking me about the negotiations, this is a logical difference of opinion as to where you might want to land. Both from the team and the player standpoint.
I think from the Chiefs' standpoint, they've got to feel pretty good about guaranteeing a lot of money, because that was kind of the logic of moving on from Joe Tooney, right? Like if you wanted to pay one guard and guarantee him for 2 or 3 seasons and you're going to have him and expect this level of play, you could have done it cheaper and gotten a better return for Trey Smith if you wanted to do it with an older Joe Tooney. So clearly year 3, 4, and 5 was part of the logic for picking Trey Smith over Joe Tooney.
Correct.
You also have, on the salary cap front, the expectation that the cap's going to keep going up until the end of time. And so every year that goes by, both team control and with the thinking about the salary cap number, whoever the big guard of next offseason is probably gets paid more than Trey Smith, and then Trey Smith's number looks a little bit better. I'm not as confident in that as I am with quarterback deals, wide receiver deals, because I could see a world in which the guard market is peaking right now, where it's been on the rise for a few years.
Yep.
And sometimes that ebbs and flows. And I don't know. I also find it fascinating that the Chiefs are a team who has continually, either by choice or like with Kings of Suamatia, kind of by necessity, keeps adding pieces to the interior, young draft picks, and trying to have some cost-controlled O-linemen. I think I'd rather have cost-controlled guards than tackles, but, I mean, if Josh Simmons works out, that's fabulous, but it's harder.
Right.
It's harder to find your cost-controlled tackles. Personally, I'm made a bit nervous by both sides of that, by both a $23 million AAV and by there being serious guaranteed money in year 5. If that's what it's like. I mean, I frankly just wasn't expecting serious guarantees in year 5 to be like a hanging up point in this negotiation, because that's a very premium thing to offer, particularly to an interior lineman.
Yes.
I think the Chiefs have told you that Trey Smith's the guy they're happy to hitch their wagon to, like they did with Creed Humphrey. They just got Creed Humphrey at like half the price. That's partially because there are 32 starting centers. There are 64 starting guards in the NFL. I know how the math works. But also, regardless of what the NFL 100 says, we'll see, Creed Humphrey's a better football player and a more important player for this team than Trey Smith. And Trey Smith is great. Creed Humphrey's the best center in football and is going to be for a while. So I am made a bit uncomfy by where the Chiefs are at with Trey Smith. Not disastrous. I'm not panicky, but it's a bit uncomfy.
One last bit of context. Hey, Chris Lindstrom's, going into year 26, 27, 28. He signed a 5-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he got $48.2 million fully guaranteed at signing. Yeah, I'm gonna need that fully guaranteed to be 50 over 5 years.
I could deal with that, I think. If you're going to give me 5 years and 50 and be able to front load some of that, I think 50 is okay. And you essentially have your team options near the back end. I guess that's the side that I would opt for if it's 5 for 50 guaranteed. And then you have disaster options in year 4 and 5, probably, if you're the Chiefs. I assume it's going to get done. You assume it's going to get done. I think in large part it's a topic because it's July, but also they could have gotten this deal done a lot earlier and it could have saved us all the trouble. So let's do this. Let's go from a meaningful, interesting conversation to a meaningless, stupid one right after the break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to, and I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust, and I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible, and they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Folks, there's nothing that beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And there's no simpler way to get in on the action than by downloading the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm going to offer a solution instead of just complaining here, but I'm going to start by complaining. First of all, this year's version of the NFL Top 100, where the players vote on players and then the top 100 go into this list, I think they just do 10 at a time. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It used to be, 20 at a time? Now it's 10 at a time? Yeah.
They are doing 10 players per week for 10 weeks, revealing the NFL 100.
Can't wait.
100-1.
So I'm so brimming with anticipation.
I don't know if we will all be alive as a species in 10 weeks. And you're telling me I've got to wait 9 more weeks to find out that Patrick Mahomes is ranked 3 for some reason? Tucker says they're dropping 2 a day. You know
Two
what
a
I'm gonna
day?
drop 2 a day of?
Come on!
Some ibuprofen, because I have a headache looking at the NFL top
Drake
100.
London's on the list? I mean, he's pretty good, but Drake London's on the list?
And much to my shock, we know where Creed Humphrey is already, even though they're only in the first 10, because Creed Humphrey's ranked the 93rd best player in the NFL. But Josh, didn't you just say he's the best center in football? And pretty much everybody agrees on that?
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You can talk about this. I'm going to offer a solution in a second. We're going to fix this for the NFL, and they're not going to pay us. They're not going to give us any money for this great idea. I'm going to try to fix it for you, league. I just need you to work with me on this one. First, Nate, talk about Creed Humphrey being the 90th. Where do you think Creed Humphrey goes if the entire NFL goes into a draft? And you say, all right, everybody's drafted, fantasy draft, Madden rules. Creed Humphrey going top 90 on your big board? He's going top 90 on mine.
He's clearly like the top 45. It's crazy.
93.
Because I like to think about it this way. And again, why am I bringing
only center on the list, according to Tucker, according to the NFL. So the best center in football gets you right there, neck and neck with Drake London.
So let me think about it from this standpoint. As I try to bring logic into an illogical experiment. Not every quarterback needs to be on the list, guys. And we do this already with things like the Pro Bowl and All Pro. And if you're an All Pro player, and if we do first and second team, which is what we do and which we care about, and it's kind of important towards players' contracts and notoriety and, obviously being worthy in terms of their recognition for their talent and their skills, their intelligence, their instincts, their dog, if they're getting recognized for the dog that they have. Okay, well, if there's 11 guys on the field, we're already at 44 guys.
Interesting.
Between the first and the second team All Pro.
Fascinating.
So how many quarterbacks and receivers are there between that
80,
and
80?
And Creed Humphrey, who's only been to checks notes, AFC Championship games, Super Bowls,
Pro Bowls he couldn't go to because Super Bowl.
Yeah, so it's Kyle Juszczyk, because people love Kyle Juszczyk and his wife. They're married, right? Did I get that right?
I think so. It sounds familiar. She's the one that makes the custom merch and stuff, right?
Yes.
I think I don't know.
Kyle Juszczyk and his very talented lady, because she is very talented, wife, lady, designer. People love Kyle Juszczyk. Where is he on this list, Tucker? Please tell me.
7.
I was gonna say,
Nate, you know when you can see Kyle Juszczyk on this list? In 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, you can see Kyle Juszczyk.
So, which leads to a question I have about like the overall list as a whole, because like this might be very Pro Bowl like, where like I think the Ravens had 9 or 11 Pro Bowlers, and it's like, you guys watch football, right? like you guys watch football, right? I mean,
are you ready to fix the NFL 100? I can fix it. I just thought of this right before the break. I can fix it.
How many Ravens are on this more than Chiefs is my question.
So many, like a shockingly large part. 53, actually. 1 through 53 is just last year's 53-man Ravens roster. And then Josh Allen at 54.
Hey, one of them 53 was a little too disrespectful to women, and he ain't gonna ever kick a ball that isn't round ever.
Oh yeah, I wonder if he'll be on the list. Probably had a Creed Humphrey, I would imagine.
Well, hey man, can we scrub him?
Remember,
Not rub him out, scrub him out.
The Ravens made it clear they cut Justin Tucker for purely football reasons, like a month before he was suspended for 11 games, 12 games. What's the ratio of credible accusations to games? Is it 2-1? I think is what he and Deshaun Watson basically got.
Well, he throws touchdowns for a living and is immensely popular.
Well, not really.
He kicks footballs for a living and is probably going to go in the Hall of Fame if he would just, sit there during a massage.
Well,
listen, we could say that about the quarterback too. He could just sit there and enjoy the treatment that he's supposed to be getting associated with his job because he kind of needs his body to do this job at a high level. He could just sit there.
You'd think. You should think. I'm going to fix the NFL 100.
Sure.
They're not going to do it, but I can fix it.
Okay.
You have two options here. And I think this isn't just like, I'm tired of seeing all the nonsense. I am. But do you know how you can make it actually interesting and actually useful? Two options. Option one, you, Creed Humphrey, you rank your top 10 centers. Or you, Creed Humphrey, rank your top 10 defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen.
Guys you go against, yes.
Either
guys
one.
You see on a yearly basis.
If you the quarterbacks, maybe they get to do the whole defense, right? That's up to them. I don't really care.
I just saw one of the comments, and
it involves a certain owner in the NFL. And
fantastic. Top 100 owner.
I've had to be in the same room with that man and hold my beer, literally.
Your talents are immense, Nate. We all if there's anything we all respect most about you, Nate, it's your tact and your self-control. But if you let interior offensive linemen rank interior defensive linemen,
that'd be cool.
That's the stuff that's interesting. When you have the guys really sit down, listen, hey, talk about what makes Creed Humphrey so special. I want to hear what the best interior defensive linemen who have to go up against him week in and week out. I want to know what they say. I want to know what Zach Allen says about Creed Humphrey, and vice versa.
So for quarterbacks, you would do quarterbacks against secondary, like corners and safeties.
I'm good with that. Sure. Your wide receivers are probably doing that too. But again, if the quarterback wants to say, hey, and again, maybe this is just a privilege offered to quarterbacks, but like if a quarterback wants to say, yeah, my number one is this corner, my number two is this safety, my number three is this edge rusher, you're doing it by guys who make your life harder. Like do it like that. Make it the NFL's top 100 dudes you don't want to go up against. And I'll tell you what, you know what's going to happen to Patrick Mahomes? We're going to stop seeing him at 4 or whatever because Patrick Surtain Jr. is going to go, yeah, no, I hate playing against Patrick Mahomes because he is really good at football. What are we talking about here?
Right. Yeah. Is it hard to Patrick Surtain is, while being a member of the Broncos and being an excellent cornerback, they've only beaten the Chiefs like twice in his career.
It's crazy. Imagine being, and I guess you can do a little bit of this for McDuffie, although you don't play against Patrick Mahomes. Surtain being one of unquestioned top 3 corners in the league, right? Congratulations. You're in a division now with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Geno Smith. Good luck. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
You know what? Surtain deserves more credit. He's playing on a higher degree of difficulty right now than most.
If Chiefs fans really want to get in on this, and I will help them do this, because Patrick Surtain is so good, someone needs to call this man and say, hey, bro, they're making a lot of money and they ain't as good as you.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, man, why don't you get a deal
after Trey McDuffie? Yeah.
Wait your time. I just think that's interesting. 2-5 versus Kansas City, according to Tucker for Patrick Surtain. 2-5. Wow.
By the way, Patrick Surtain makes $20.5 million a year. He's very good.
Very good.
He's very good.
Very good. The NFL 100 thing is going to keep polluting your timeline for the next 9 weeks. And we'll all survive it. But
so, like,
I would like to see them do something more useful with that opportunity. It'd be better content too.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is. It's content farming for
stretch something out through the off season, through the deadest part of the off season. The NFL's made a show,
or you could be a normal human person and play amazing old school games. Who says no to that? We don't need lists. Just play me the 1982 NFC Championship game. Let's go. It's not that hard.
If we can make that the next run of merch or whatever, of we don't need lists. Give me 1983 NFC Championship game. I'd wear that.
Remind me how great the 85 Bears are by playing the 85 Bears on television during, I don't know, late July when training camp has just started. Yes, there's news, there's highlights, there's interviews and documentaries you can put out. Those are all great, but I don't need a list, man. Just give me that sex drug that was the 2008 Chiefs Rams game. Play it every week.
2018.
Play it every week.
I don't think
play it every week.
I don't think the 2008.
And I might go to a holier than thou place.
The 2008 Chiefs started 1-10. I don't think that was anybody's sex drug.
I'm in 2018, obviously, but
2-14 with Herm, baby.
Sometimes I think sometimes they let a player pick certain games that hey, here's.
Do you know the Chiefs signed Jay Feely that year and then released him the following day? I had no idea Jay Feely was a Chief for one day in 2008.
Yeah, give me that Randall Cunningham against the Buffalo Bills game. I'll sit there and watch.
Congress? Anyway, Nate, what are you feeling right now on the interior offensive line? This was the third thing I came up with first. We get Trey Smith, great. Creed Humphrey, great. We've got a little time before training camp. Right now, are you putting chips on Kingsley Suamataia starting at left guard, or is it a real training camp competition? Give me this. How about this? Kingsley or the field? Week 1. Who's starting?
Now that's interesting because the odds would say the field, but at the same time, you got to get something out of Kingsley Suamataia.
That's not the rallying cry you want.
You got to get something. Now, look, there are other second round picks. Hey, bro, you ain't getting anything out of that. Okay, it happens. It happens, man. You think you a draft guru? You draft these people and see how good they are. They're human beings, man. Sometimes they suck. Because you know what? This is the highest level of competition that we have. You gotta get something out of Kingsley. So yeah, I'm guessing Kingsley, barring some unforeseen thing or some weird injury into training camp or whatnot. As Seth has said, we should mention Seth. Believes that
I disagree.
Knew you were gonna say that. No, you don't. You're just Seth who? So in the world that we're living in currently, I think the more athletic player is Kingsley, the player with the more upside is Kingsley. I know Mike Caliendo did an admirable job in a less than ideal scenario. Hey, kid, go out there and play when you have no playing experience whatsoever, really. Now, let's say all things are pristine, right? Let's say all things are clean. Let's say they're as clean as this gorgeous Wimbledon tennis ball.
You seem to
the
get
cleanest balls in
up
tennis.
your nostril every time. I'm afraid at some point it's just gonna be hanging out of a nostril. Man, he really sniffs that Wimbledon ball deeply.
Every day during the championships. Every day. Think about this, kids.
You talked about this without me last week. You need to start doing the day in the life routine videos or whatever. You wake up, you dunk your head in an ice bath for 15 seconds, and then you get up and you just huff a tennis ball for 45 minutes.
All right, who's in the draw today? What's the lineup? Who's on court 12? Ladies and gentlemen, they hit these balls so damn hard.
No, this one's my fault. If you said
really
it's
really my fault.
Something is if it's just as clean and pristine as that Wimbledon ball that you had halfway into your olfactory.
Because there's two scenarios, kids. When they pop the balls out, and I've kept these in the case,
good,
so that they stay in mint condition.
Good. Other than your boogers.
Courtesy of Wimbledon. The ball looks like this when they start playing, guys. Yeah. Within minutes, after they beat the living hell out of these balls, okay, which sounds amazing, especially when you include, Iga Swiatek and Arina Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. They look like this. Look how beat up that ball is. Now, this is an actual ball that was played during the championships last year. I think I've showed this before.
Awesome. They look different. One of them looks like one of those balls has been beat to hell. You're right.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This version of the Chiefs' offensive line probably includes Wanya Morris. This version of the Chiefs' offensive line is Jalen Moore to start the season, Kingsley Suamataia, then you get Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith under contract, and Juwan Taylor. Okay, this the version you want. Okay, You don't want this version because, guys, this ball hurts, and that's what Patrick Mahomes gonna feel like if his offensive line don't look like this.
I think it's also kind of nice by comparison to last year. Last year's game used tennis ball looked like some of the ones that I throw for Hopper now, which he just chews and tears apart. And then at the end, there's just sort of like half of a rubber shell in there. And you can tell that it used to be a tennis ball, but it's not anymore. That version was what happened last year. If this year's scuffed game used offensive line has Wanya Morris getting snaps at left guard, a guy who I kind of forget to put in that guard conversation now.
Right.
That's all right.
Because he could definitely be in it.
He could be in it. And it's not terrible if he's in there. That gives me some optimism that, like, again, last year, plan B was bad, and you ended up on plan D by the Super Bowl. Maybe plan E or F.
Hey, and plan C was I think we can get through it if he just doesn't pull his hamstring. He pulled his hamstring.
Plan D. Yeah. And it's like that. And with that in mind, like I have very, very little like wholesale optimism on Mike Caliendo from what we saw last year. Like you're right. You're right that his situation was very poor. That's the caveat I wanted to acknowledge also.
They were not preparing this man to play any games of any snaps of importance. Like,
and now you're playing with your help on your left side as a guard playing tackle. It's a brutal draw for him.
Brutal situation.
I don't really give him a whole lot of like film credit from last year. I didn't see something to go, they got to get Mike Caliendo back out there. But I also can't really hold it against him. Not in good faith.
I think Mike Caliendo's best game as a Chief last year was against the Houston Texans, the first game, right? Mm-hmm. Not in the playoffs. Because as Seth has told us, and it's there on film, the Houston Texans were like, second time around, right, we might be able to do some things. But he actually looked really good in that. That was his second game as a starter, I believe, because it was Cleveland, Houston. Then you go to Pittsburgh for Christmas Day. He was okay against Pittsburgh, and then as the stakes got bigger, his lack of experience and the fact that the Chiefs weren't training him, I want to be very clear. The Chiefs were training him to be a spot starter, come in an emergency. Hopefully we get to see your full body of work in week 18 once we've already clinched the division, the playoffs, the home field advantage, right? So there's a case to be made that Mike Caliendo can get a lot better between last season and this upcoming season, because now, similar to Najee Johnson, he actually knows like what it's like to play
snap for snap, down to down, and he saw the highest level of competition in a very unusual manner of the playoffs and then obviously the Super Bowl against a team that prepared 2 weeks to expose all of your flaws.
Right.
In addition to the guy playing left tackle who should have been playing your spot in said very game. So there's a chance that Mike Caliendo looks better in the preseason, really makes it a competition. And then you say, hey, if we have an injury to Kingsley Suamataia, or if there's a little bit of a stumble along the way, we have someone in Caliendo who can be serviceable in a way that we were putting him in a very, very harsh situation. You know, I think people forget this. Guys, they were pulling Mike Caliendo off the bench to be the 6th offensive lineman so they could throw him the ball against the Buffalo Bills because that's how little they cared about that game. Just got to put it on film, baby. Just got to put it on film for the rematch.
I think that there are redundancies at tackle and guard this year in a way that makes me feel better than we did at any point last season, and that's a good thing. One just little like PSA here that's not a full topic because it's not nearly as much news as it may have looked like earlier today, but I want to correct what happened and make you the most informed you can be on the Rashee Rice front. There was I don't even want to say erroneous report. That might not be quite fair, but there was a story out earlier today that was announcing, hey, here are criminal dates for a trial for Rashee Rice coming up, I think in January, right? And it looked like, okay, well, they got criminal dates. They got to have the criminal details. And if you listen to the show a lot, you know, especially hearing Seth talk about it, we still don't have criminal charges for Rashee Rice.
Anything.
And so for a brief moment earlier today, it looked like maybe that was starting to happen. Not the case. I'm going to read you a good summary here from Jesse Newell of the Kansas City Star. Very good work. He's on top of this. Here's what Jesse tweeted earlier today. I know this can be confusing, but court records do not indicate Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has a criminal date set for his Dallas car crash incident. Other reports today have cited a January 20th jury trial. According to online documents, that date is related to a civil suit against him. The resolution of Rice's criminal matter is what the NFL is waiting for to determine a potential suspension. That was Jesse Newell's tweet. I will add, Rice's criminal matter is the thing we still have virtually no information on. So nothing really changed today. Maybe a little bit of confusion on that initial report, but we're pretty much the same place we were 12 hours ago or whatever it was. Same place we were yesterday. And we'll let you know when we're not. But right now we are, and right now nothing is changing for Rashee Rice's availability.
See you at training camp, dog.
That's where we're
at. See if we chat with you at the podium.
I think that'd happen. We'll find out. We'll find out when, where, and how.
I remember where I was last year when they brought him up there to say nothing. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm gonna just let my lawyers handle that. How's it been to run more intermediate, deeper routes? I literally asked that question. It's cool. But I'm gonna let my lawyers handle that. What? Sir, what? Obviously, there's a little bit of obviously I'm joking.
That's about how I remember it too.
I guess this man, okay. All right, cool. He not gonna answer anything about being caught on video fleeing the scene of a crime. Of an accident. Let's just say accident, because we don't know if it's a crime, even though there are no criminal charges.
Right.
All right, even though they caught you on not Christmas, even though they caught you on Easter weekend doing some risky business. Hey man, look like they got you running them deeper routes. How's that going? What do you think? Big plans for year 2? As I've said, guys, I'm gonna let my lawyers handle that. Get this man off my face. He mostly said, yeah, I'm gonna be great this season. And to Seth's point, he kind of was. In spite of reckless behavior on Easter.